it's Deborah, and today I'm going to be reviewing IngramSpark's print-on-demand services, specifically with regards to their jacketed case laminate hardcovers. If you're a self-published author, then IngramSpark is the obvious choice when it comes to hardcovers. Not only do they have printers all over the world and a global distribution network, they also have the widest range of trim sizes and finishes. Unless you want to go to a local printer and deal with distribution yourself, chances are good that at some point, if you are offering your title in a print format, you are going to have it printed and or distributed by IngramSpark, even if you have to deal with their awful user interface and their subpar customer service, especially if you want dust jackets on your hardcovers. There's 3 kinds of costs that apply when it comes to setting up a print title with IngramSpark. First are pre-production costs, which consist of a title setup fee and revision fees. Revision fees only apply to new print files uploaded after you've approved your e-proof. You can make changes to your files as many times as you like for free, as long as you haven't approved the e-proof. But once you do approve it, it will cost you to upload revised files. The most cost-effective way of getting around these pre-production costs is to join a publishing membership association. These organizations get a monthly dedicated coupon code that will waive all of these pre-production costs for you. There is a limit to how many times you can use a code in a given month. Off the top of my head, I think it's about 5 times, which isn't an issue if you're just starting out, but it can be a bit of a problem if you have a substantial backlist. The second aspect is the production cost, which is charged on a per print run basis and split across 3 components. You can choose from different service levels, which doesn't affect print quality, only the turnaround time on your print job. There's a base cost per unit, which is determined by the type of finish you choose, and there's also a per page cost, which differs depending on whether you've got a small versus a large trim size. Volume discounts do apply to production costs, and they normally kick in at around 100 copies or more, but you can keep an eye out for promos like this. Finally, there's shipping and handling. Shipping is charged according to service level, while handling is charged for each shipping address. If you put everything in one order, they will combine shipping, but that does not necessarily mean you will get one shipment. This time around, I ordered my hardcovers in 2 batches. First, just 2 copies in a test batch, and then second, a full carton of 16 copies. I opted for economy service in both cases, and I got my orders roughly about 7 to 9 days after I placed them, which is unusually fast. I would recommend that you allow at least 2 weeks just in case there are any delays in print production or in the shipping, or something happens, or you open up the box and you find that there are quality issues. Speaking of, I've never had a problem with my kids' books, but for my fantasy novels, there were a couple of issues with the delivery and the print quality. For small quantity orders, IngramSpark's packaging is much better than KDP's. They use rigid cardboard mailers, which prevent the books from getting bent, whereas KDP uses padded mailer bags that can and will get folded and shoved into your mailbox. I've never had a problem with my kids' books in the IngramSpark cardboard mailers, but the first batch of my hardcovers, one of the books got dented because of how tightly they folded the cardboard mailer. For large quantity orders, these are packed in a box, with the books being shoved right up against the corner, and packing material is used to fill in the gaps on the 2 remaining sides. This is not great. If you're lucky, it'll be fine. If you're not, you're going to end up with dented books. Now, let's take a closer look at the print quality of the hardcover itself. While the dust jacket itself is pretty good, whatever process they use to put the dust jackets on is awful, because 6 out of 16 copies in my carton had the dust jacket spines misaligned pretty badly. That said, once I took the dust jackets off, the alignment on the spine for the case laminate covers was acceptable. Misaligned spines is a pretty common issue, but thankfully it's rarer and less obvious on something like a novel. With case laminate hardcovers, the cover art is printed and then laminated over the cardboard for the cover, which is then glued to the book block. It's worth noting here that the pages of the book block aren't arranged in signatures. They're simply printed, trimmed, and then glued down to the spine. For paperbacks, the book block is directly glued to the cover, whereas hardcovers have an extra piece of thicker paper that gets glued around the book block to reinforce the spine, and another second piece of thicker paper that's glued to the case laminate cover. This method of gluing means it's not actually possible for the book to lie flat. That said, whatever method IngramSpark uses for gluing is noticeably better than KDP's. The pages of the IngramSpark printed books flip smoothly, whereas the KDP printed book has a very obvious split. The other obvious difference in quality is the accuracy of how the pages are trimmed. In my novel, I have a full bleed double page spread of maps. When trimming the book block to size, you can see that IngramSpark has trimmed it correctly with no white edges visible on the full bleed pages. Not so for KDP. The alignment of the book block on the trimming machine is so poorly calibrated that you can end up with huge strips of white on your full bleed pages like this. There is also no option to have custom end papers, which is super frustrating when it comes to the hardcovers. For the paperbacks, I kind of understand because even though IngramSpark offers a duplex cover option, that's not really the same as getting end papers. It's just being able to print on the inside of your paperback covers. But for hardcovers, I don't understand. I don't understand why we can't print on this piece of paper that goes on the inside of the hardcovers. I'd be willing to pay extra for that. In fact, I'm pretty sure I would rather trade the dust jacket for the ability to do custom end papers. IngramSpark, if you're watching, make it happen. If you do have any issues with your orders, you do have to apply through IngramSpark's claims process for a refund or a replacement. It is pretty straightforward to do. You've got 90 days to document and report any issues with your order via the order screen. It's worth reporting each issue separately since there is a total file size limit of 10 megabytes to the attachments that you can submit as proof of the issues. You can choose between receiving a refund or a replacement for the affected units. I deliberately ordered more copies than I needed, so I opted for a refund. Also because I didn't want to stress about waiting for replacements and the possibility that there would be quality issues with the replacements too. Note that you do not get any reference number for the claim or email confirmation of its submission other than this dialogue. There's also nowhere in the IngramSpark website that shows how many claims you've got open on a particular order and the status of those claims. The only thing you'll get is an email response when the first level person has processed it. In total, I lodged 3 claims and I received a first level response within a day. While they escalated the claims related to the dented books, they denied the claim for the misaligned dust jackets. Apparently, these are just manually folded and the solution is just to refold them. Does this even look good? Also, does anyone actually like dust jackets and want them? Let me know in the comments because I personally find them super annoying. I'd much rather have custom end papers. The dust jacket does look nice, but I'm not sure it's worth the extra cost. Not just to print them, but to actually get them designed. Unfortunately, I think I've locked myself into getting dust jackets for the rest of the series because I hate it when covers don't match. But if I had to do it all over again, I think I'd just opt for a plain case laminate cover. Overall, the print quality isn't as good as something you can get from a local print shop, but it is pretty much reasonable for the price point. And the quality of the interior, especially as it relates to the full bleed images and the way the book block is glued to the spine, is much better than KDP's. In summary, I am happy with how my hardcovers turned out, and they even got a thumbs up from my local printer, which is really saying something. If this video has been helpful to you, then please give it a like so I know to make more videos like this for you. And if you're wondering who did the amazing cover design on my novel, then you should check out this video next.